What's up guys, welcome to Daily Refinement. In today's video, we're going to talk about something that's too common in the reseller sphere, which is overbuying. So somebody reached out to me on Instagram. This is 1/3 of the stuff that they have that is not listed. Now, normally I don't like to do consignment, but if the amount of items is this large, I think it's around 7,000 items, we worked out a consignment deal, which is 50-50. So 50% of the total sale price will go to her, that's 50%. And out of the other 50%, all the fees, storage will come out of my end. So a truck actually just dropped off all this stuff. So I don't know what's in here. So I'm gonna text her along the process because she is a student. And I think this is very, very real. During the pandemic, she's basically by herself and she just got into the habit of buying things to resell, but she never actually got anything listed. So nothing listed, everything is just organized in storage like this. So in today's video, we're gonna go through some of this stuff and then let me know what kind of situation maybe you're in. And if you're looking, overbuying is the biggest problem in reselling. If all this stuff was listed, that would be a totally different story. But I can tell in here just from looking, there's personal items mixed in here. Actually, we went through some of the boxes when she dropped it off, and there were things that she didn't even remember that she had in there. Some personal items she had been looking for. A gym bag full of gym clothes was still in here. So I can see here there's stuff like this, which is maybe retail arbitrage. She's got 4 Magic keyboards here. And so I'm really curious how much of this stuff is new, how much of it is pre-owned, how much stuff of this is personal items, how good she is at sourcing. So this is obviously exciting. I don't know what Tiffany item is in here, but this box is always very exciting. So I think what I'm gonna do is stream all these items on Whatnot, probably bulk purchases, because this is a lot of items and it is in my wheelhouse. 99% of this stuff is women's clothing, which is my niche. And I actually FaceTimed her and we went through some of these items over the phone so I could get an idea of what she has, and it's pretty exciting. And something interesting was that this filled up an entire 10x20 box truck. So the whole truck, they only had 1 delivery just here. So they brought all this stuff over here. I'm gonna look through all of it and put it away. Real quick, I had to get a separate storage unit to store Ellie's stuff, and we're gonna try to sell all of it tomorrow, September 23rd at 10 o'clock in the morning, Pacific Standard Time. If you use my code, which is at whatnot.com/invite/dailyrefinement, you can get $10 off your first purchase, and it really helps me out and it helps support the channel. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. You can join that stream, and we're selling all this stuff at really blowout prices, and we're lotting it all up so you can get a great deal to resell the items. We'll see you guys in the show. So I'm actually pretty excited to see what kind of stuff is in here. Maybe we'll go through a few of these boxes. Can we see this? Okay, so I'm gonna see what's in this Tiffany box. Actually, I don't know. This looks like a crystal bowl. Nice. A crystal bowl. This appears to be brand new. So Tiffany & Co. made in Germany. So beautiful crystal bowl. Cassette tapes. She has lots of shoes. There's some Ferragamos. There's some Manolo Blancs, which were made really popular during Sex and the City. So Manolo Blancs are really sexy. These are suede. So this person took decent care of their shoes because you can see the suede is not so much damaged. So let me know in the comment section below if you guys clean the bottoms of shoes. I personally do not, but you can see here there's some separation of the insole, and so this would greatly diminish the value of the shoe. You might want to actually repair this before you sell it because Manolo Blanc is traditionally a strong brand. Also know when you're looking at the labels, this is a pretty old label. So people know when they're buying, and sometimes people will pick up great brands like Manolo Blanc and they can't sell it because they're asking too much because the modern label is traditionally worth more. And sometimes people will even put the word modern in the title. So some of this stuff is going to be high-end brand, which I'm not going to sell on eBay or on any platform really, because in here I know there is Chanel, there's Louis Vuitton, there's Gucci, there's the high-end stuff, and I don't want to risk any of my accounts being banned, especially after being banned on eBay. So the fancier stuff I will send into the real. And essentially the way that I would approach this seems like it would be pretty overwhelming for most people to get into, is I would just list 1 bin at a time. So that's how I would approach it. Later, I'm gonna move all this stuff into my storage unit, which is pretty much empty of inventory. So we're gonna move all this stuff in, and I'm gonna just glance through every single box, get an idea of what we have, see if it's on trend, if it's in style. Looks like she bought a lot of this stuff in the pandemic. So purses, I'm gonna separate all purses into one bag, all shoes into one area, all personal goods into one item, or into one area, all new with tags, maybe dresses, so I can create different categories. There is some new stuff. I did find a fair amount of Patagonia, Gucci, Prana is a great brand to resell. So the outdoor brands here in the Bay Area, there's quite a few. Okay, this one looks like it's purely clothing. Yeah, so this is shoes. Well, these shoes aren't gonna require a ton of cleaning. Everybody loves Rothy's, but this, be careful because this is just the Rothy's insole in another shoe. It's funny that somebody used the Rothy's insole inside this clog, which is really funny. These shoes are a little bit rough and will require a little bit of TLC to get them into shape for resale. And I also noticed that the pairs are not easy to find. So this is not a good way to store shoes because it's not obvious. The other Brooks is missing. The other Tom's is missing. Yeah, so that's kind of a pain in the ass that I have to go through here and figure out where the matching pair is. She picked a lot of stuff that was cool prints and styles, but I'm not sure because I personally shop more via brand. Here's an Armani dust bag. So, and you can see here, you can hear this, right? So this is a little scary because older shoes do fall apart especially if they're unworn, and these look unworn. So you got to be careful when you're describing these because sometimes they can literally disintegrate as you're walking. So it's a little scary, but these are suede. So suede's not a material that's gonna fall apart. So luckily those aren't rubber or something that would disintegrate more. She loves the Tiffany & Co. box. This one, maybe, should we keep it a secret? Let me see. This is a double secret because there's another Tiffany bag inside. So hopefully it's diamonds. It's probably not diamonds. Let me see. So, okay. You know what? I probably should leave it a mystery. No, I won't. I'll tell you guys. It's there's probably lots of stuff like this, but it's sort of a heart locket. So this is so silly to me. A frame. Heart frame, because like this would be worth $2 at TJ Maxx if it was a different brand, but because it's Tiffany, because of this Tiffany & Co. embossing, now it's suddenly worth money. But this is kind of corny in my opinion, but it's all right. Let's see if this is Lilly Pulitzer. I'm curious from this print right here. Looks like it is. Oh man, I feel good. Lilly Pulitzer is a really good brand to pick up. She makes these really lively prints. So this is good taste, size medium, which is excellent. I think Lilly Pulitzer fits a little large too, so maybe you can size down. So maybe if you're a large, you can squeeze into this, but that's a cute print. Okay, so I know you guys have so many questions. So number one, some of these items are lower end, so what am I gonna do with the items that don't meet certain thresholds? So for me, I like to sell things that are at least $20. On consignment, traditionally, I see consignment shops really doing well when the items are over 100. Under 100, I feel like it's just better to just outright buy the items. So this is around 7,700 items, so you guys tell me, what would you offer this person? Because I feel like what happens is people will make you an offer for, like, let's say I'll give you 50 cents a piece, I'll give you $3,800 now. But I think she told me that she spent over $100,000 on this stuff. So offering her $3,000 when she paid $100 probably is too painful and you would end up not making a deal. That's why when I wrote the consignment terms, I said we're gonna do 50-50, but I have the right to lot anything I want. So I have the right to sell the entire thing for $7,000 and give her 35 and I take the fees out of my end if I decide to go that route. I'm not going to do that because I think I can get a lot more sorting it into similar stuff. Some stuff goes to the Real because it's really nice. Some stuff gets lotted up and other stuff will be donated, and I also put in the terms that she's going to pick up what I don't want to sell at all. So I'm sure there will be items in here that I will either be discarding, redonating, or having her pick up because maybe they are valuable to a certain degree, because I noticed inside here there's a couple of totes that have books in them. So I think those might be personal and they just accidentally got into this storage. So when you have this much stuff, it's easy to forget what you have and what you don't have. And I think that at this point she has so much emotional real estate taken up by this stuff. Even though she probably feels fine, I know having this much stuff that's unlisted would weigh heavily on you. So for her, I think this is going to be a huge weight lifted off of her. I think if I were to offer on this stuff, I'd probably offer around 10 grand. If I were going to just offer a straight up amount to buy all of it, I wouldn't offer her less than $1 a piece, because I can see some of the stuff is brand new. I probably would offer that. If there really is 7,700 pieces, I'd have to verify that, but paying $1 or $2 would be about the same price as buying it from the bins. And I've already found Patagonia, Lululemon, Gucci, Louis Vuitton, Chanel. So there's already been really good brands here that can offset the cost. So since I actually have the capacity to list this, there's a huge difference between death pile and queue. So for us, listing 1,000 items per week, this is around 2 months of inventory. However, since I'm gonna be lotting this stuff up, especially the lower end stuff, if I were to reduce it to 700 lots, then I could sell all of this inventory in 1 week. So imagine how crazy that is. I've had at least 6,000 people reach out with some type of buying request. Let me buy for you, come buy me out, my store is going out of business, I'm moving, my wife wants the stuff out of the garage, all these different reasons for wanting to exit. And people have reached out to me, but usually it's a hodgepodge of things. This is like 98% clothing, which is in my niche, in my wheelhouse. So I'm gonna try it out. I think it will be fine. So starting in about a week from now, today's the 12th, so around the 19th of September, I'm gonna start selling this stuff. And I imagine I'm gonna do lots of around 10. And I'm pretty excited to see what happens, but there are excellent brands in here. And I think that people will be able to resell them for a profit, especially people who understand quality listings, listing habits, schedule, and that's gonna be a huge improvement. So I'm also gonna tie this into store reviews, because a lot of people have been asking, like, why aren't my items selling? What could I do to make my items sell faster? And a lot of it has to do with how the items are listed. If you have the right keywords, is it the right order? This is gonna tie in well with our store review process. So I've been reviewing more and more stores online, and most people have the same problem. They have a bunch of mediocre items listed poorly and they're not optimized. So what happens is, on eBay, if you keep listing bad items, eBay's algorithm is gonna think that you're only listing bad items and they're only gonna give you appropriate traffic. So on a bag like Tumi, right? This bag, the keywords are very sensitive. There's a lot of Tumi bags for sale. If you use the wrong keywords, you might end up with a return, you might end up with the wrong search traffic. And so as an example, this big guys. And really it's details like this. So on a big store, they're gonna take 2 pictures. They're gonna take picture 1, picture 2, that's it. When you're a small seller though, you can take the time to show all the details of the luggage tag. You can show the details of the clasps. You can show the cleanliness of the inside of the bag. And this is not clean, it's got stuff in it. So if you take the care of going in and actually cleaning all your items, making it look nice, it really sets you apart, and you can compete with the big guys because they're usually skipping steps. So the ultimate way to do eBay would be to not skip steps and have a huge store. Definitely some great brands in here. There's a lot of designer stuff like Escada. So I'm gonna have to call my Real rep and have her come and look through all this stuff and see what she wants to take in, because they yield a lot higher prices. So this one is a mixture. It's got shoes and it's got a Goodwill tag on it. I would have 100% passed on these. Oh, they're universal threads, so they're Target. So very, very cute boots. So I definitely recommend going to Target to see what's on trend. This is on trend, but instead of a $600 designer boot, it's a $20 boot at Target. So she paid $12.99 at Goodwill. Hopefully she got it on half off day, because that's too much for these, because I personally would sell these for maybe 22 or 20 plus shipping, and 6.5 is a good size, but if it was like an 8 or a 9, I probably would sell better. in my opinion. Like, this is great. This is Tory Burch. So remember, when you're selling stuff like this, you want to make sure that you get as much detail on the tags as possible. Also, the fact that this was dry cleaned is a good sign, because usually somebody wouldn't dry clean a fake item. Some people do, but it's probably best to. Like, there's little hints everywhere that help you determine whether an item is a good buy or not, but nothing is a good buy if you don't sell it or list it, because it's just taking up time. A lot of Ferragamos. Do you guys like wood shoe trees? Because I personally think it adds a level of luxury to your listings. So maybe you could save these. These are really nice. One thing about Ferragamos is a lot of them have things like this, which is 7.5 AA, which is a terrible size. That is extra narrow. So AA, so to give you guys an idea of how the shoe spectrum works, it's basically A, B, C, D, E, and a double letter is going to be double what it is. So A is the smallest, so double narrow. E is wide, double E would be extra wide. E would be triple wide. I have seen 3A before. So this, even though it's Ferragamo, is very narrow. So you have to find somebody that has a narrow foot, which is less common. Most people have wider feet. So this would be difficult to sell. You got to keep out, just got to look for clues, because that is potentially very dangerous. You know what's interesting? I look at all this stuff and I personally am not overwhelmed. I know that how long these things will take to list, and I feel like if you don't know how long approximately it takes you to list things, it will become very overwhelming. So for me, it's organized, it's clean, it's folded nicely. I'm not gonna have to de-wrinkle or steam anything. It's gonna be quick. Also, I know that from looking at some of these boxes, half of them are air, so they're not completely full. And the ones that have shoes on the bottom, shoes take up a lot of space. So a whole bin like this might only have 10 items in it. So it's interesting looking at the composition. Also, one thing that makes this difficult to store is all the bins are different sizes. So that's a little bit annoying, because they're gonna not, it's probably one of the reasons why the boxes are so damaged. So I had 600 bins at home of my old storage system, and they're all basically in perfect condition because they stack really nicely because they're all the same. But if these bins are ever dropped or they're stored unequally, you'll have a lot of warping. Like if you guys just look across the top of this, you'll see that almost all of the box tops are warped. So that's from being stored at different, maybe different temperatures, and also different heights, different weights. So I recommend not filling the bin all the way full. If you can, try to keep your bins for storage halfway full, so you have enough room to reach in it and actually pull out the item that you're trying to sell. And you can see people fill their inventory tubs so full that they don't really seal, and then they stack them and then they get damaged. So Armani Collezione is different from Armani Exchange, different from Giorgio Armani. So remember, don't just listen to something and then go buy it, because there's always different versions of it. I really recommend you become an expert in your category. ALC is a fantastic brand. Here's another bolo for y'all. Also, one thing you can do to learn the brands is you can go to high-end consignment shops like The RealReal and just look through their inventory, study what's selling well. This is YSL, so Yves Saint Laurent. So beautiful stuff, beautiful designer stuff. So you can see at Goodwill, look at this ridiculous price tag. Have you guys even seen a price tag that high at Goodwill? $149. So that's expensive. That means somebody in the back room of Goodwill was like, they found a banger. So a lot of cardigans, a lot of outerwear, which is promising, because outerwear is much easier to sell. Alice and Olivia is another great brand. Show you guys the tag. There's just so much stuff here to look through. There's also athleisure, there's dresses. And if you guys have something like this, I don't know if I'm in the new business of doing buyouts, but if you have a lot of stuff, I would say over 5,000 items, they're all similar and I can lot them together, maybe we can try some consignment. I've been buying more and more deals lately, especially with the ability to do lots, but we'll see how this one goes. I'm hoping I send you a check on the very first week of October, because I don't want to store this stuff. So hopefully this is useful and insightful, and I'll see you guys next time. It's more than I thought.
How's it going?
Once again, so it's going great. There is a lot of stuff here. I underestimated how much stuff it is because I didn't realize she has these industrial sized bins, which we'll show here. These bins are a lot larger than your traditional bins. The ones that I used were 56 quart. These are 110 quart. So that's where I messed up, because she told me that she had 120 bins in this load, and it's more like 240 bins because they're twice as big. So that's where I misjudged it. It will fit, it's just a lot more than I thought. So it is a good workout this morning, and I love it. All right guys, so I just finished looking through Ellie's stuff, and it ended up being a pretty good buy for me because it's all in my wheelhouse. There's about 7,500 items. They're all women's clothing, which is what I primarily sell. It's all organized really well. I think that I really miscalculated how much space this would take, because I use 56 quart bins, and these are 110 quart bins. So when she said she had 150 of these, I thought it would easily fit into my storage space, and as you guys can see, it's completely full and I can't even walk around these. So I need to reorganize these, and I'm planning on selling all 7,700 items in a week or two so I can get all of my space back. Also guys, when you are buying bins, please be careful when you stack them that these handles don't break off and you maintain the condition of the bins. These were stored before in a different storage unit and not packed very well, so I would say about 80% of the plastic bins are damaged, which sucks because they're worth a lot of money. I would say that these bins are worth at least $8 to $10 on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, but because they're so damaged, it might be something that you only ask a couple bucks for because they are super damaged. So make sure that you understand how much space you're going to take up when you do consignment with other people. Make sure you have clear terms. I have a clear contract with Ellie where I can sell it however I feel fit, and I give her 50% of the proceeds gross. So also make sure to put in writing who handles the shipping, who handles the tax, sales tax, and who handles the income tax. I'm going to be issuing her a 1099, so she's going to have to report taxes on this income, and then what she's going to do essentially is subtract the thrift store purchases from the amount I pay from her, because everyone is a business. If you sell something for a profit, which is what she was trying to do, you can write it off. So everyone is by default a sole proprietorship. You do not need to open a business. You are a business if you have a social security number and you buy something with the intent on selling it for a profit. So overall, would I do this again? Definitely. If somebody has this much quantity in the exact items I sell, it's a go.